All right, welcome back, everybody. It is another episode of Just Stories with BT, and I'm very excited today because we are launching season two. So, season one was all about different CEOs that kind of wove giving back into their business strategy. And season two is, I'm really excited about this because season two is all about highlighting different female executives in the mattress and furniture space who are absolute rock stars. And I want to get their story out there because, quite frankly, it's an underrepresented group for sure in our industry. And so I kind of want to dive into that. But we really want to find some of these powerhouse females and then really allow you guys an opportunity to get to know them, the person behind the organization, the company. And as always, we do that through the art of storytelling. So welcome, Katy Law of Sweet Dreams. So excited to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. I really have loved listening to your season one so far and enjoy the storytelling format. I think it's such an engaging way to get some information across. So thank you.
Yes, I am very excited. And as always, I could ask you to introduce yourself, but we just never know with that. If someone's going to give us a 2-word answer or go on for 20 minutes. So I will do the introduction for you, and then you can tell me what I missed or if I got it right. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. Everybody, this is Katy Law, co-owner of the Sweet Dreams franchise or furniture and mattress chain. So here it goes. So Katy was born in Naperville, a suburb of Chicago. Never heard of it, but I'm sure it's beautiful. She grew up with 3 brothers. She's the only girl. As she grew up, she got into working, and her first job was at I Can't Believe It's Not Yogurt, which is actually a hilarious name. Never heard of that. She was schlepping froyo, which is awesome. In high school, she played percussion. She was in the band, snare drum. My son is in percussion right now in the band too, which is really cool. She went from there to go on to college at Florida State University, where she met her future hubs. And she was working different jobs, did some waitressing and whatnot, but her husband was working at a mattress store. So obviously that led to some exciting things. And so when they finished school, moved out, they decided to open their own business, which was in 2002, the launching of Sweet Dreams mattress and furniture store. And as the business grew, they were able to open more and more locations. And along the way, had 2 beautiful kids, now 14 and 12. In 2019, her and her husband were awarded Business Persons of the Year, which is really exciting. And then in 2020, they were awarded Retail Bedding Giant from Furniture Today. And now in 2021, they've got a bunch of locations. And now here we are, Katy, on Just Stories with BT.
Here we are. Love it.
So what did I miss? Anything major? Obviously, it's a big synopsis in like 30 seconds.
It is. You did miss one major thing, and that is one of the highlights of my life. My golden doodle Harvey. Oh, he's just so cute. Yeah, we call him the State Fair teddy bear. He's the best.
Okay, so I have to do this right now. I'm gonna flex on you a little bit.
Okay.
Come here, Roxy. Come here. Okay, here we go. So you have a golden doodle.
Yeah.
Check out the Labradoodle, Roxy.
Oh, yes!
Roxy, look. Over here.
I'll have to, I got to go get him now.
A complete puffball. Oh my
Harvey.
God. That's so awesome.
Harvey, come. Yeah, they're complete fluff balls. And they're like the best family dogs. They're amazing. They're so loyal and gentle and playful, but like also sometimes annoying is what we say.
No, now she's like freaking out. So anyways, yes, dogs are a massive part. That's my kid's dog. She's amazing. So tell me, give us for those of us who aren't familiar with Sweet Dreams, the different stores you have and whatnot, give us the 30-second kind of overview on what makes you guys so special.
Really, what makes us so special is the dream team that we get to work with every day. And that's by far and away my number one answer. It's been a blessing to, start this business and grow it over time. And, with each incremental person of the dream team, they've added more value to our team and our community. So that is definitely what sets us apart.
Nice. And so, as you think about such a long, career, really, I mean, 2002, you opened, and here we are, almost 20 years later. You've had all these awards, you've added new stores. When you think back, because obviously I love stories and I love to hear people, talk about struggles, failures, successes, but I also love to hear people talk about things that they remember back as being funny or super entertaining. So tell us, let us get to know you a little bit. Like, what are some funny memories you have, or one that just sticks out that you think of and just it kills you?
Well, definitely we love to have fun at Sweet Dreams. That's kind of the core of who we are. But one of my favorite funny memories by far is one that is back in the early days of Sweet Dreams. You know, we did not have a very big advertising budget by any stretch of the imagination. So our advertising was mostly like guerrilla marketing. And Greg, my husband, thought it would be a really great idea this one Easter to dress me up in a pink bunny suit, set a mattress up by the side of the road while I jump on the bed holding a big sign that says Easter sale. And I honestly still don't know to this day how he talked me into doing this. The costume was like fuzzy pink from head to toe with just like a cutout of my face, right? So this happened to be on the Saturday right before Easter. And it also happened to be on a Saturday where the local school district was making up a snow day. So here I am on the side of the road. Our store was kind of like on this busy residential road, sits right across the street from a middle school. So I'm in the pink bunny suit, jumping on the bed, Easter sale sign, and the middle school lets out. And the buses start going by. And the kids start yelling at me out the window, profanities like, F you, bunny, get a job, bunny, you suck. And I was like, this is a low point in my life. And we had those Nextel phones back in the day that like served as like a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, like the
so I like signal Greg. I'm like, bleep, bleep. I hate kids and I'm never doing this again. And then I get off the bed and head back into the store. So that was kind of the end of my roadside shenanigans.
Yes.
But fast forward to 2019, our friend Mike Whitaker from Nationwide came to do like a whole team training session.
Yep.
And he started a movement at that session. It was hashtag bring back the bunny suit. And he even got like a cardboard cutout of the pink nightmare, you know? So lo and behold, somehow I got talked into putting that costume back on again.
Yes.
For some good photo shoot, but I kind of got back at Greg because I made him wear it for a commercial. So
nice.
There you go.
Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Junior high kids. I have one right now. My son is in middle school, so I know
they're brutal, man.
Brutal. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm getting made fun of by middle schoolers.
Oh man. Yeah, I had a guy that worked years ago when I was at Sleep Train. He actually did the similar thing to your brother, which is like, yeah, cut out a twin size mattress and he would get into it on like Memorial Day or Labor Day and like be out there. And I remember the last time he ever did it was because someone threw a burrito at him. And he was like, "It's a wrap. I'm done. Like, this is like, I'm not making enough money here to have burritos chucked at me, so I'm out."
Yeah, we actually started this whole Sleeping Bandit advertising campaign where we would put the bed out by the side of the road, and then it started with my husband. He would just like lay there and sleep for a couple hours. The first time he did it, he went out there like 5 o'clock in the morning to catch all the people who were like leaving for work, you know? But then we started hiring people to do it, and it was actually our hardest job to keep, which is funny because moms would come in and be like, "Oh, my son really wants that job where you sleep out on the side of the road. Yeah, he's a teenager. It's perfect." So we'd hire him. And then I think they just like laid there and thought like, what am I doing with my life? This is so boring. And then they'd only do it like a time or two and then on to the next.
I love it. So literally the whole ad campaign was just have someone sleeping on a bed. So people look at it and go like, what is happening? And look over.
Yeah, we had a big sign that said another satisfied customer.
Oh, that is brilliant. I love it.
It was great. Back in the guerrilla marketing days, those were fun.
No, absolutely. I worked for a company when I was in college called Jedediah. It was like a surf skate fashion clothing brand. And same thing. We were small, upstart. We had a ton of people involved, but only a couple people being paid, you know? And so we wanted to make ourselves seem that we were huge, you know?
Yeah.
And even though we just didn't have any money. And one of the guys that was interning for us had a connection with this like traveling, I don't even know what it was. It was like a traveling circus kind of thing and all these animals. And we were so there's in the fashion world, there's like two big trade shows every year, and one's in San Diego or twice a year. It's called ASR. And so it's where all the brands come and you've got booths and the whole 9 yards. And so we hired literally this marching band with all these animals, and they wore this shirt that said, march to the beat of your own drums, Jedediah, and it had all these cool drums and stuff. And this marching band and all these animals just come parading through like the front entrances. And it was like the biggest scene you've ever seen. And we got so much traction, so much buzz. And literally we didn't pay anything for it. Everyone just volunteered, and everyone thought we were this huge company with this big ad budget. And it was like, no, we just like had a connection, and that's how you do it.
Isn't that awesome?
Oh, so
I love
fun.
that story.
Oh, it was great. So tell us, love that memory. Great stuff. It sounds like that's a big part of what makes up, Sweet Dreams, is just, having fun and enjoying the job. But in a career, in a company that you founded that's been around 19 years, you had to have had some struggles and some difficult times, right?
Yep.
And I just love hearing stories around those types of times, so could you tell us, one or two times when, you were, you had something that was really difficult to get through, and kind of how you did it?
Yeah. Starting a business from scratch 19 years ago has definitely brought up its fair share of challenging times. But there's definitely one that sticks out to me the most, and it's really the foundation of who we are today still. Like you mentioned in the intro, Greg and I were very young and pretty inexperienced when we opened Sweet Dreams. We were just kids, really fresh out of college, 23 and 24 years old. Greg ran a mattress store when we were going to school. It was kind of this Joe job that got passed down in his fraternity. And he was the first person to take it seriously. Like, he loved what he was doing. He loved serving people. He's just one of those entrepreneurs at heart, and knew he wanted to open up his own business one day. So, being the influential guy he is, he talked to his parents and I about, starting Sweet Dreams together. We had been dating for a very long time at this point. And we all thought it would be a great family career path for us. So in the fall of 2002, we got married in September, moved from Florida to North Carolina in October, and opened the business in November. So all of those things at once now sounds like the worst possible recipe for disaster. Like, I would never want to do all that at once, but we were young and, had so much fun doing it. We're looking forward to starting our life together. And what we kind of lacked in, wisdom and business knowledge, we made it for in our energy and passion. So we opened in 2002 in November. And for some reason we thought that, we'd hang our Sweet Dreams sign on the door, on the building, click the open sign on the door, open up, and people were just going to come in and buy stuff, right? That was totally not the case.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Just walk in? Amazing.
What? I remember we went to High Point Furniture Market in October, right before we opened. And we went into the Layton Platt booth, and the rep there was like, "Oh, what do you forecast for your first month in business?" And we confidently said, "Oh, about 60,000. And he literally laughed in our faces. And I remember we were so offended and taken aback. Like, failure had not even crossed our mind at all yet that could happen, right? Like, so what was our first month in business? What did we do? $11,000. Then our second month, $9,000. Like, heck, this is going down. This is not good. But we really just kind of like worked hard, put in our all. We got really involved in our community from day one, and thank God we did. And, it started to get better. Every month got a little bit better. Then in March 2003, not even 6 months after we opened, the war in Iraq started. Mm-hmm. And it was like crickets at the store. I mean, nobody coming in, no traffic, and we were starting to sweat it. I mean, we genuinely were not sure if Sweet Dreams was going to be open in April. Mm-hmm. Like, there's just nobody coming in. Luckily, Greg's mom is a very faith-filled woman, and she started to pray for us in our family business. She would come in the morning and go to her back office and hit her knees, and we started praying along with her. This one particular day that was just like, today could be the day that we're going down. she said, oh, Greg's oldest brother, he's a pastor of a church in Louisiana. His church just started praying for us. And then that same day, this unsuspecting couple came in. It was one of those like, don't judge a book by its cover type customers that walked in the door. And they drove over an hour away to our store because they were referred in by like a local chiropractor that they saw, and ended up not only buying a mattress from us, but also a whole bedroom set, which we had just added to our product mix, spent over $8,000 with us. And up until that moment, probably our biggest sale was like around 2, maybe.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she was wearing a sweater or we just didn't notice it until she came to the desk to fill out the paperwork, get her receipt together. And we noticed that she's wearing this t-shirt, and in huge letters across the t-shirt, it says, Jesus is Lord. And if that's not an answer to prayer, I don't know what is. And then the next day got busy. And then the day after that continued to be busy. And God has been faithful in our business ever since. Nice. So we've realized that it's really up to us to work as if it depends on us and pray as if it depends on God. And he's going to come through every time. So together, we've kind of grown our original dream team of 4, 1 location, to now our dream team of over 40 people and 4 locations and a distribution center. So I'm just really thankful for all the tough times that we have gotten through, because there have been a lot. Yeah. Because growing this business has been one of the biggest blessings to my marriage and my life. And it's really because of all the relationships we've built. Mm-hmm. Our vision is to help as many people as possible achieve their dreams. And Sweet Dreams has been the vehicle to really help us do just that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, when you think back through those times, is there a story that comes to mind where, all of a sudden you're just, you maybe stopped and paused after, or that night you're reflecting or something when you were like, oh my gosh, like, obviously that one story with the lady with the $8,000 and all that, but like as a business, where you sat back and thought like, man, we're actually like having some success here. Like this is actually going pretty well.
Yeah. Definitely been those moments too, which I think it's so important to reflect back on both of those times, because it's through the hard times and the good times that, you're in serious growth mode. Right. And so just to be open to that growth, and to be open to what you can learn from each one. But I think that the moment that honestly sticks out to me the most is when our business shifted into success, is when we joined the Nationwide Marketing Group in 2014. And that's when the dream team that we have today really was born, because Nationwide helped us, Greg and I, grow as leaders, and helped us grow as leaders to inspire and include our people in the threads of our business. Mm-hmm. So it's really easy as business owners to just get caught up in the day-to-day mundane busyness. There's always, always, always so much to do, and to focus more on our vendors and our customers. But what Nationwide really helped us learn is that our biggest assets are our people, that team of people who have been there with us every step of the way, and they deserve our attention first. So like I said, this business is really, our vision is to help as many people as possible achieve their dreams. And that really starts with our own people on the dream team.
Yeah, absolutely. And it definitely, as a leader, or as an entrepreneur, I'm sure it feels amazing to see, your team grow, people take on new roles, people develop in their skills. Cause I know that's always been, what's probably been, the things that I've remembered over my course of my career is less and less about my personal successes, and usually more and more about the people who worked for me or with me when they had success. It was like that, it was more rewarding,
Yeah, like their success is our success. And that's been the past like 5 or 6 years have been more fulfilling than anything before that, because it's just been so fun to see our team develop and grow. And I think a few keys to that paradigm shift really was the main thing is that we defined our core values. You know, that's something that like we never announced before. And now that's something we go over and over and over with our team. And without defining those core values, you know, and really honing in on them, like a lot of negativity can creep in because people just make up their own values. Yeah. So now those core values are the foundation of everything we do at Sweet Dreams. Every decision we make, every person we help, those values are at the forefront, and we're always going over them with our team. Everybody's expected to know them, commit them to memory, and to live them out every day. You know, they're part of our interviewing process. They're part of our onboarding process. So everybody from day one is aligned with our core values.
And how did you go about even making those up? How did you create them?
Really, like we sat down together, a few of us, and created them. And it was just really an introspective interview of who we are, what we find important in ourselves, our lives, and in this business. And it's all about intertwining our personal passions with our business. So our core values it's an acronym called DREAMS.
Nice. Love it. Yeah, I've been through, I think, 3 different versions of those in my career. You know, once when I was with Sleep Train a long time ago, and we purchased Sleep Country up in the Pacific Northwest, and we brought the companies together and we did a whole, you know, like 3-day in a hotel, building out our visions and values and purpose. And it was interesting. And then years later, when Mattress Firm bought Sleep Train, I did it again. You know, those 2 executives got together, and it was like this. We went to this place in where we were in like outside of Tucson, up in the mountains at some resort, and ropes course and like all this kind of, you know, team building type stuff. And we built it out, and they had this facilitator from Australia who was actually amazing. And he had this artist with him, and every day as we were doing stuff, it was 5 days, this artist was recording the entire process through like those cartoon sketches. You know, they draw, you know, those people that like, as you're
like
talking,
caricatures.
So she was doing that, and it wrapped the entire wall of this facility by the end. And so you could see the story of like how the whole thing was built. And then at the end, it had our, you know, the vision, the values or whatever. Now
that's super fancy.
That was super fancy. Did it translate into actually happening? I would probably say no. But the relationships built there were really good, you know, whereas like the Sleep Train ones, they were great, you know, and they did definitely, you know, it was something woven into the kind of fabric, you know. But I'd say even more than that was when I was with Sleep Train and they became an ESOP, and I had talked about with Dale Carlson in episode 1 of my podcast about it. That really defined the company and like what everyone did. It was like it became this like legit family team atmosphere because everybody wanted the company to succeed, you know. And when you have really good values and everyone buys in, you know, it's much easier to get things done, you know, because you know, it's less of like me tell you all these things and more about like, hey, you tell me what's going on in the business. How do we grow it? How do we become successful? You know?
Yeah.
So let me shift gears a little bit. And obviously, like I mentioned in the intro, you know, like I really wanted to focus and highlight, you know, different executives in the sleep and the furniture space that were female. And I want to ask you just kind of off the cuff, you know, what do you think? Why do you think there are so few female executives in our space?
I think perhaps because it's going to take let me think about this for a second, how I want to phrase this. I think it's been so male driven for so long that it's just going to take recruiting and attracting more females to our industry to continue to recruit and attract more females to our industry. I think a lot of times it's just the law of attraction where people attract like-minded or like people. And so since it's been men for so long, I think it's just kind of continued along that path. But I do think that our industry has some of the most amazing people in it. It's honestly been one of my favorite things about what I do are all the people that I've met along the way, all the relationships that I've forged. Some of the people in our industry have become some of my very best friends. And I think the more women we can get engaged in our industry as a whole, the more women that we're going to continue to attract. You know, even looking at our own business for a long time, I was one of the only women in our business. We had a few girls who, you know, were on our admin team or something, but there weren't a lot of us. And if you look at our business today, it's probably about, besides our delivery team, which is, you know, obviously probably going to be more male, it's probably about 50-50. And I think it's because as we grew, we brought on more females and it's attracting more females. And also bringing that community together. I think females really like being part of a community. And so trying to make that feel for them at work just builds on their career experience.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's funny because if you think about it, it makes no sense because, you know, I've always been taught since day one, you know, literally for the last, I've been in this industry for 16, 17 years. And I've always been taught that the data has shown, when you look at the marketing data, that if you have a household and you have a couple who are making a mattress purchase, you know, the marketing data showed that it skewed so heavy that typically the female was going to make the buying decision, like the majority of the time. And yet here you have an industry that you have the majority of the decision maker is female, and yet 90% of the industry was male, you know, trying to, like, you know, tell them, oh, you need to do this or you need to do that or whatever, when you're sitting there going like, wait a minute, like, why wouldn't you have more females involved, you know, especially in more important positions, you know, like, you know, obviously executive type roles where they have a lot of influence, because this is such a woman dominated purchasing decision, right? So it's funny how did it even start?
I don't know. It's always blown my mind how we are really the decision driver of the purchase of our whole entire category. Yet there are not many of us who are part of the process of creating what we sell to the customers.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. Like down to, I remember when we first started, when we first became partner with Sutherland Bedding, one of the key selling points to becoming their partner was that they had females come in and select the fabrics that they put on their beds. I'm like, thank you, because, you know, sometimes we get some products and I'm like, man, who came up with this name? Like,
yeah,
why'd they put this fabric on there? That's horrible.
Yeah,
you know, it just doesn't translate well to the female consumer at retail all the time.
No, for sure. And I think the step further from that is like, hey, how about you, instead of bringing females in to pick the fabric, why don't you just hire a marketing VP who is a female? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who's experienced in this role. But like, to your point, people have to apply, you know, and we need, you know, we need to widen that net. So, you know, I think back to, you know, in your life and in your career, there's always these aha moments, you know, where something happens and you're just like, oh, wow, you know, like I just learned a lot, or like, I didn't see things that way, you know. And I know for me, in my entire career, a moment that I'll always remember was I was coming from Sleep Train to Mattress Firm, and Mattress Firm had just acquired us, and it was just kind of going public. And so I had a trip out from San Diego, where I was living, out to Houston, out to Galveston, actually, where the entire L&D team and training team from Mattress Firm was getting together doing offsite meetings. They did a meeting every year in December, I think, December. And they'd all rent these beach homes in Galveston, and they'd all, you know, they'd meet for 3 days and they'd do, you know, giveaway, you know, or what are they, white elephant presents and this whole 9 yards, and they'd plan out their year. And so my boss, this guy, Matt Anderson at the time, who's like one of my best friends, and him and I were supposed to go out. So we were going to be the first people that they met from Sleep Train. The news had just came out that we were, merging, or they were acquiring us, whatever. And so this was going to be, and I ran all of sales and training at the time. And so their team had someone who did what I did, right? So it was already a little weird because it was like, hey, how's this going to all work out? But I was just going there to like, hey, I want to be a part of it. I want to see what you're about. I want to be a part of this business planning. And so I'll never forget that morning. I'm getting on the plane and I get a text message from my boss, Matt. And he's like, and I can't remember what it was, but something came up and he's like, dude, I can't go. You just got to go by yourself. And I was like, no, I don't want to go myself. I didn't know.
Journey to the wolves.
Yeah. So I get off the plane. I take the, an Uber or whatever over to, I don't even know if there's Uber then. I can't remember, a taxi or something over to their corporate office. And I'm just waiting out front, and you need a key card to get in. And I don't have a key card. So I'm just standing out there for like 30 minutes. No one's coming or going. And it's Houston, and it's actually really cold. It's in the winter, and I'm just standing out there. And so finally someone comes out and is like, hey, what do you need or whatever? I'm like, oh, I'm so-and-so. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm just waiting here. So I'm waiting in this lobby. And then all of a sudden, all these people start coming out and getting in cars. No one's really introduced themselves. Finally, some guys like introduce himself. Oh yeah, you just hop in with me, So I hop in, and they we start driving from Houston to Galveston, and they pull over at Target. And I'm like, what are you getting? What are you doing? And they're like, oh, well, we have this white elephant gifts exchange. It's like the first thing we do tonight is we do this big thing. Did you bring any presents? I'm like, no, I didn't bring any presents. I don't know anything about anything. I don't know what's going on. So I go in there and I'm like, well, I better get something. I don't want to be the only one of 40 people that don't do it. And I don't know about you, but like where I'm from, white elephant gift exchange is like, I go as funny as I can, like outlandish, because that's
my thing. Roll.
Yeah.
I'll have to tell you one of my best in a minute. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm like, all right, well, I don't know these people, but I'm going for it. So I buy a pack of adult diapers, like the Pens. I buy this a rash cream for your butt. And then I bought a Boy Meets World DVD, season 3 or something, like just the most random two things. And I wrapped it, and I'm like, okay, I go up, so that night, it's like everyone's lined up around saying, I'm meeting everyone. Of course, the people are amazing. The learning and development team at Matt Firm is awesome. And everyone's super welcoming, actually. And like, I'm having a blast. And it's they start to do the thing. And all I'm thinking to myself is like, no one picked mine first. Cause I don't know if people are serious about it or funny, if they're doing cool gifts. So sure enough, this big old guy walks up, and he's looking around the tree, and he looks around back, and he grabs mine. And I'm like,
oh.
And so he comes back and sits down, and I'm just like, oh God, if it's really bad and no one reacts, I'm just going to say, I'm not going to claim it,
Yeah.
So he opens the package, and he's just looking at it like dead serious. And all of a sudden he just starts dying, and he pulls out the diapers and and everyone's laughing. And all of a sudden he opens the package and just pulls it and pulls one on over his pants. And starts
my God.
And everyone's rolling. They're like, whose gift was that? And I was like, oh, it was mine. And everyone's like, yeah, that's the best. So it actually ended up being like super funny.
Oh, dude, you got street credit from day one.
Oh, from day one. And so anyways, that wasn't the learning. The learning was later that the next day we did this planning event, right? For the next year, all the training events and all this stuff that we had to put into play. And they randomly broke up the team, just drew numbers. And so I happened to get into a group with 4 different women and myself. And at the time, coming from Sleep Train, my team was predominantly always male. I think, like a lot of my directors and my regionals, it just, like you said, that's just kind of how it was. And I remember going through this exercise, and 3 or 4 different times in doing it, the girls I was working with, and most of them still work there too. They're such an awesome team. They were bringing up things and saying things from an angle that I just honestly had never thought of. Yeah. And I wouldn't have thought of. And the product that we produced and the plan and the presentation was so much better than what I know I would have done, honestly, with my current team at the time, because there was just things that we wouldn't have thought of, and an angle we wouldn't have seen. And I just was like, my mind that night, I remember being like, oh my God, like I've really been I don't want to say I've been blowing it, but it was like, I'm missing out, I'm missing a huge element of what my leadership team could be. And I ended up taking over the majority of that team. I think I had at one point, 15 or 17 different directors all over the country. And it was such a balanced team. And I've been blessed for that to be kind of like that the rest of my career. But it just showed that, when you don't have that balance, man, you really miss out.
I agree. I am such a big fan of the balance, because I feel like there's a lot of great things that both male and females bring to the table. And I'm very aware of some of the fundamental differences that we bring. So I love having a balance on our team. I think that we have the strongest team that we've ever had because of that, because we do bring a few different things to the table, but we all really respect each other and work together. And just making great career enhancing experiences for everybody on our team is just really what it's all about. But especially I think women kind of sometimes our biggest barrier is ourselves, the whole imposter syndrome thing. I listen to a lot of podcasts, especially in kind of the self-development space. And something that I hear over and over again is just kind of the lack of confidence that a lot of women, bring to the table. Like they have a lack of self-belief. They don't think they're worthy to do something. So I think that's important for us to really hone in on our strengths, bring them every day, lean on them, and, step out of our comfort zone to bring the value that we have to the table.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Tell me, let's say, you've heard of an elevator pitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So you got 60 seconds or whatever from floor 100 down or up, someone asks you a question, so what would you say, what would be your elevator pitch for, let's say there's, just some amazing women out there that somehow this podcast comes across and maybe they've never thought about joining the mattress and furniture industry. You know what I mean? It's never really appealed to them as a career. And actually, disclaimer, like it doesn't appeal to a career to pretty much anybody initially, right? Like you don't go to school as a kid, like I want to wake up and sell mattresses or furniture. It's just not that type of career. But as you mentioned, it's such a fun space and it's such a family kind of oriented, like everyone knows each other and it's really cool. But as you said, if we're going to attract more female executives into the space, like, so what's the pitch, like what would you say to somebody who's, maybe on the outside looking in?
I think the pitch is not about what we do or what we sell. It's about who we are. So like I said before, the relationships that I have formed, not only within our industry, but also with the people in our community, have been more than I ever could have dreamed of my whole life. I'm a total people person. I love meeting people. I love getting to know people. I love relationships. So the vehicle that this industry has created for me to form some really deep relationships and make a true difference in people's lives because of the products that we carry, that's what I think would attract women to our industry, knowing that the products that we do carry make a true difference in people's lives, but so do the people that we all work with.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
So I can't let you go without telling me this. So you said you had a story around a white elephant.
Oh, yeah.
I got to hear it.
Well, I have a couple. My two favorite white elephant gifts that I've done was one, I worked in an office in college, and we had a white elephant gift exchange, and I was by far the youngest person in the office. It was all older people, but there was this chicken place in Tallahassee called Guthrie's that was like famous. All they had was like chicken fingers and French fries and this sauce called Guthrie sauce, and you get it and it's called a gut box, So the gut box was famous in Tallahassee. So what I did was I went and got a gut box and then took several bites out of the pieces of chicken and then put it under the tree. So when they opened it up, they were like all excited, like, oh, it's a gut box, but it's actually half eaten. So who wants to eat that? That's disgusting.
And you're like,
anyway. And then my second one was my family white elephant, which my family are all really funny. We cut up together. And we had done the white elephant for like several years. This is one of the last years we did it. And my grandfather had passed away probably about 8 years prior to this. And so I thought it would be kind of funny to, weave him into the white elephant as a little shout out to Grandpa Schlesser. And I got together a mason jar and filled it with like water and avocado pits and some bacon bits and some just like little yucky things inside, and then put a label on it. Grandpa Schlesser's kidney stones, 1994, you know?
Oh my God.
It was great.
No.
Big laughs in the family.
Yes. I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah. I had, as you say that, I'm reminded of one that was really funny. When I was in college, I was dating this girl, and her family was really funny. And, you know, so I was meeting some of her extended family for the first time, but I had known her dad and mom well, because she lived in Orange County. We went to San Diego State. So it's about an hour and a half away. So we would go up there sometimes and stay. And so they invited me to their like family Christmas thing, you know, and it was a white elephant.
Yeah.
And same thing as before, I was like on the edge, like, do it. They're funny. They're super funny. I should do something funny.
Yeah.
So I stopped at Ross on my way to the house, and I was looking around for just something stupid. And I looked over, and there was like one of the, like the clearance rack. And I see this pair of like ladies underwear that are, I don't know what size 40 or 50, whatever, like the biggest sizes. So this huge pair. And I'm like, this will be funny, you know, like I'll just buy it, and, you know, someone will open it up and it'll be like this huge thing. Yeah. So I wrap it in this little box. And then sure enough, we're having the party or whatever. And her grandma comes. I didn't know she was coming. And I had never met her, and I meet her for the first time or whatever. And so sure enough, just like the other story, everyone's like, oh, grandma gets to go first, you know, so she goes over there, and I'm sitting there going, like, don't get the box. Don't pick the box. She grabs the little box, and I'm like, oh my God, opens it up and just pulls these things out. They're like this big, and she's like, oh, you're so nice. Like, I'm gonna like these. And everyone just starts dying. I was like so embarrassed. I was like turned super red. And I remember my girlfriend just staring, like shaking her head at me. And I was like, oh my God. So anyway.
That's funny. Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on, Katy. You know, I mean, I think at the end of the day, the thing that I'll remember the most from talking to you, I really like what you said about, you know, talent will attract more talent, you know? And so if we're trying to get more, you know, awesome females into this industry, like you said, I think we just need to broadcast successful females now, you know, like, guys, this is a great industry. Yep. Like there's like, we need more. And I know for me personally, I think I sent this in a message to you when we started, but, you know, my entire leadership team is all female with the exception of one guy. And none of them have ever been in the industry before. So to your point, right? Like here's all these new people, an influx of new people that now love this industry and are getting in. They're starting to listen to podcasts, and they're connecting with people on LinkedIn. But they're the ones kind of like where the light bulb's going off, going like, wow, there's just not a huge presence. Yeah. And I've told them, hey, it's not, you know, and that's something that, you know, I want, they're the future, you know what I mean? And so it's like the more light they shine, the more we can bring in and really like start to balance this industry out, which it really needs, you know? So
agreed. I definitely see that happening too. I have noticed a big shift in our industry over, I would say, the past 5 to 7 years, where I am seeing more women. I'm seeing more young people. Our own team, gosh, Greg and I are actually the oldest people on our sales team right now. Like we have a really young sales team, and they are so impressive. They are more impressive than I was at that age for sure. But they are attracting other young people because they're excited about where they work. They're excited about the team they're on. They're excited about all the people that they get to help. And so they're attracting their friends and more young people. And also young people like shopping with young people. So not only are we attracting younger people to join our team, we're attracting younger people to also be our customers. So that's been another fun paradigm shift, not only with the female, but just for younger generations.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome, Katy. Well, I know you are busy, got a lot to do around these stores. So I just thank you so much for your time, and I can't wait for people to hear you tell your stories.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Katy.
All right. Have a great day. Bye.
Later.